Good day. My name is Janiyah Downing. I am the current president of the Indiana Association for College Admissions Counseling. Thank you so much for being here today on another one of our video series about the executive boards. Today we have with us the members of the chairs of the Credentials Committee, and they are
Tara Evans, Vice President of Enrollment Management with the International School of Indiana.
I'm Jeremy Korn, School Counselor at North Central High School.
Very cool. And again, my name is Janiyah Downing. I'm the current president of this fine organization, and I am super excited about this committee because you all do a lot of the work that goes kind of unseen. Many people don't really get a chance to really dig into the bylaws for whatever reason, but they're incredibly important to moving our organization forward. So before we go any further, can you guys just speak to what you do in your committee and how you are helping our organization?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for your time today, Janiyah. And in our committee, we spend a lot of time, for one, knowing what the bylaws are on the national level. So one of our goals is to make sure that the NACAG bylaws align with the NACAG bylaws. And so if there's changes that are coming down from the national level, we try to make sure that they are incorporated into our association's bylaws as well. And then if there's anything specific in relation to how our affiliate runs, we like to make sure that they're outlined there, so that if there's any questions when we're in meetings, or if there's questions about membership or about officers or about delegates or voting or terms, that our members can go to the bylaws to find the answers to those questions.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that's so interesting because usually we just kind of think like, oh, we got to figure this out on our own. And me as a member, prior to going into the presidential cycle and serving on some committees, I would have these questions that I would just think about meetings, or what if we wanted to change something about how we do something, or funding structure, or what happens if someone changes careers in the middle of their serving, like what happens there? And I always thought like at first, oh, we just got to figure it out or make the really good decision. And it's great to know that really smart people like you two have already thought through many of those things. You've already talked to our national affiliate about how they handle those things and come to a good decision for our organization. So it's really helpful to know we have kind of like that roadmap. When you think about people who may want to join Credentials Committee, like what are the types of people that you feel just, man, they connect really well with Credentials Committee? They will be well suited to be at the table when big decisions are made. Like what are those types of people that you can imagine from Indiana ACAC?
I would say people who are interested a little bit in research, because you do have to read through all of the details of, the NACAG bylaws and, the code of ethics, regardless of what form it might exist or whether or not it's completely slashed based off of whatever rulings come down from the federal level.
That was incredibly specific, Sarah. This is very, very specific.
But also folks that are interested in governance, maybe long term, because you really understand how the organization works, and you acquire those details by really reviewing and understanding the bylaws, and then determining if changes need to be made, and then folks interested in policy. But Jeremy, especially as a new person on the committee, what about the committee drew your interest?
Well, it sounded like when Janiyah had reached out to me about it, kind of my personality, being organized, detail-oriented, interested in comparing and contrasting things, especially trying to align it with the national, the NACAC office with all the changes the past year. Just a good fit for me. And I've always wanted to do a committee outside of my school to grow professionally. So I was very excited to join, and I try to go about being a lifelong learner and to continue to grow in the field. I have a real passion for college and career counseling, and this kind of lines up so I can learn more from everyone on the committee in the organization. And so I agree with, like, if you have an interest in policy, comparing and contrasting things, those are some traits that they're great to have. And I love research, and so I'm happy to be joining you guys.
Yeah. And I think this is a really good conversation to have, especially when you start thinking about people joining your committee, because there are certain committees that get so much face time that it's almost impossible not to see them. Like, I think professional development, I think inclusion, access, and success. I think about the educational calendar planning committee, planning all the college fairs. So without even trying, you know who they are because they're everywhere in front of you, especially as a new counselor. But some of the committees like credentials or maybe government relations, where you guys are doing incredibly important work that helps move our organization forward. And I would love, for some people who are newer to the field to jump into these committees, because if you plan to progress in your career, whether it be on the high school side or the college side, understanding bylaws, understanding governance, understanding how an organization works, and that it's not just I think the expression is fly by the seat of your pants. That's not how we work. We have things in place to help us be organized. It's a really good thing for especially younger counselors to get involved with.
For sure.
Yeah. So as we think about this last year, which was so predictable, extraordinarily predictable. Everything just kind of lined up exactly how we wanted. And you think about next year, which hopefully will be a little bit more predictable. What are some of the wins that you guys have had or you plan to have with the Credentials Committee?
Say, an upcoming win, if you will, is we do have some upcoming changes that will be presented to the membership to vote on at the next virtual conference. And so looking at the changes that happen on the national level and then incorporating those. And so I would say that would be a win for a committee like ours. But you'll also find from just a flow perspective, there'll be some years where there's a lot of work, kind of like this one. But then there's others where if there aren't a lot of changes happening on the national level or at the affiliate level, you're just kind of, gliding, staying up to date with what's happening. But your committee specifically won't be super busy, which is okay. But I would say, with the changes coming up with incorporating a little bit more detail into the bylaws potentially, and then just making sure we're again in alignment with what's happening with NACAC and the way things are worded and and all of those components, I would say, are the wins coming up. Making sure that they're a little more detailed and more succinct and providing more information to our membership.
Awesome. And Tara, you've been on the committee for how long?
That is a good question. Probably 6 years, maybe.
6 years. Wow. And you've been a chair for 2 or 3?
Probably for the last 3 years. I think that I was going to roll off, but then we had some staffing changes. And so I decided to stay on to make sure that there was someone on the committee who was familiar with what needed to happen. So I stayed a little longer than planned, but it's okay. Jeremy is on board.
And we appreciate you so much for staying on a little bit longer just to help us out. And Jeremy, I'd be happy to give you 30 seconds here. Is there anything that you want, like the new person who comes in and they may not see Tara, but they may see you, anything you want them to know about the committee?
I'd say just to be ready to work, ready to learn. Tara's done an extraordinary job getting me up to speed the last 2 months. Our last committee meeting, we had a lot of things that we reviewed, and she's been an amazing mentor in that regard. So I hope I can fill her shoes and do a great job.
Yeah,
awesome.
We'll all be pulling for you. So the last thing I want to ask you guys, because I know that if someone is watching this, if they went to the website, they saw who you guys were, and then they went over to the YouTube page where this lives and they watched this video and they're like, yeah, you know what? That sounds like the committee for me. What's the best way for them to reach out to you all? Would you like them to send something to your work-related email, which they can find in the membership directory, or would you like them to send something to the general Credentials Committee web email address?
It's probably whatever their preference is, but I definitely recommend the official IAC credentials@gmail.com email address. so that it lives in our executive board portal. But
Sure.
you can reach out to us individually as well. We'd be happy to have you on board and even schedule a meeting to provide an overview of what we do and the proposed changes and how those changes typically are presented and next steps with this being part of the committee.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure to get a chance to talk to two of the rock stars on the executive board, and I appreciate all of your hard work and dedication to our organization. And thank you for watching this video. This is another one of our videos highlighting our executive board, just giving you a peek behind the curtain at what goes on in the executive board level. Look out for more of these videos coming out each week as we record more and we release more. And also, if you want to get involved, please do contact this board or these committee members or anyone else. With that said, thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
All right. Thanks so much, Janaya. Have a great day. Bye-bye.